Wanna know where is my tool bucket? Who took it from me? Broke into my house that night and stole from me. Using up blowtorch is quite insanity. Then got a rock and threw it through the window, the back door window. Snuck into the house, that foolish bucket foe. Took it to the pawn shop to get money. Need your hands here now. Hey dude man, coolest thing around. My show now, you're my hands right now. This is Adam Sheffield. Welcome to American Heritage Center Radio, home of the Property Therapy and Talent Development Program. We're here with Dennis Diaz. He's the first presidential candidate from Puerto Rico, and he is with us. This is the Property Therapy and Talent Development Show, and when property has problems or issues, it needs therapy. And in taking care of property, it takes care of you. And so the most powerful property therapy force in the United States today is the Latinos. And they have really renaissanced the communities and fixing the properties where they come and restored so much blight in the United States. Thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been an amazing story. I like property therapy. It's awesome. Thank you for having me.
We're going to talk to Dennis about being the first Puerto Rican presidential candidate and about his task force on rescuing people from human trafficking and what a vote for him means, how he's different from all the other presidential candidates, and his thoughts on the minimum wage and what made him decide to run for president, and his service in the military, and what's it like being in the White House, things like this. And in the service in the let's talk about your service in the military and how that ties you into our forefathers that we've had in this country and the sacrifice that they made. You know, and not too many presidential candidates in the field have really served in the military. And it brings to mind, we have a spiritual orientation on the show. We talked with people who have faith orientations in the show, and Jesus taught if you would have one be your ruler, have him be your servant, right? And when you put yourself in harm's way, you're giving service to all of us. And
absolutely, my brother. I definitely agree. And one of the things is that back when we founded this country, everybody was in the military and the whole 9 yards. And I think that it's really important for especially the President of the United States to actually serve in any branch of the military so they can fully understand and appreciate what this country is all about, actually serve this nation. If we go back to that, we're actually going to be fixing a lot of these other problems that we may have. And I think it's really important. It was an honor to serve in the United States Marine Corps. I'm a Marine Corps combat veteran. I was on the tip of the spear when I was in the Marine Corps. We actually invaded Iraq and the whole 9 yards, and we captured terrorists. But also, not limited to, we actually retrain the Iraqi police along with the Navy SEALs and Special Forces, and actually built schools and homes to the Iraqi civilians. So it's truly give you an understanding and appreciation of what this country is all about. Even in combat, when you're getting shot at, and we're still doing the right thing. And I'm telling you, my brother, I love this country, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
You know, building firing weapons and building schools, it reminds me of the eagle on our money. You know, the eagle, in one talon in the claws, it has the arrows of war. And then on the other, in the other talon, it has olive branch of peace. So you've got to have both talons. You know, you have to have strength, and then you also have to have love and charity. So it's the combined. Carl Sandburg said about Lincoln that he was a man of steel and velvet.
Absolutely. The way one thing that caught me, I still live by, even till this day. After I was done with the Marine Corps, I did my honorable service to the Marine Corps, is the fact that we always used to say, no better friend, no worse enemy. And we truly live by that. And when I was a young Marine, it really caught my eye because we practice what we preach. Regardless of politics, we practice what we preach. So it was truly an honor to actually live by that, experience it, and now take it to a whole new level here as a veteran.
Yeah, so when you're sending troops into harm's way, it really helps to have that perspective of having been on the ground yourself. And all right, so on your service in the military, thank you again for this. And just hearing you talk, and let's talk about also what it means to you, in addition to your veteran background, which makes you unique in the field, the candidates today. What else does a vote for you mean? Like, how are you different from the other party's candidates?
Absolutely. Of course, we're not gonna waste time about talking about the whole mumbo jumbo, who's running, not running, and so on. The fact of the matter is that we need a true leader. A leader. When you vote for me, when you go into the ballot and you write Mr. Dennis Diaz, what you truly voting for is for the American people, for America. That you want to stand out and do something positive with this nation and our citizens. You are working hard for the voiceless, the people that are being used for human trafficking, sex trafficking. You are fighting for them. You're also standing out for the middle class. We already know that we got really big problems when it comes to the having the medical be able to sustain themselves, especially with this coronavirus nonsense. So it's really important when you vote for me. It's not voting against Donald Trump. It's not voting about Joe Biden. It's voting for the United States and what we represent. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we are talking with Dennis Diaz, the first Puerto Rican, a man from Puerto Rico candidate in the American history. This is the Property Therapy Show, and on your task force against human trafficking, this is the Property Therapy Show, and sex trafficking. That's really turning people into property, right? When you're trafficking, yeah, right? Because
absolutely.
Because the property, the difference between a person and the property is that, at least in an intuitive sense, apart from the legal sense, it would be the ability to have freedom of choice and be able to grow and learn and move forward in your life. But if you're a property, you're set in that setting.
Absolutely. It's really sad. I'll give you a short story. I was doing a rally. I was running for president, as I am now, and I was doing a rally in Minnesota. And I noticed it was a native rally, and the natives were talking about how their children got kidnapped. And once I started feeling what they felt, because I heard of it for it before, but nobody truly pays attention until it happens to them. Or somebody that it happened to. Then it becomes real. So that gave me a sense of being. I noticed, what? I captured terrorists in the Marine Corps, in the worst, most horrible places. Why don't I do this in the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic? And when I saw these children, my brother, I'm going to tell you right now, it's horrible. They do treat them like property. If not worse, the life expectancy is less than 10 years. And it's horrible what these children go through. That's why I decided to train, to learn, and to actually develop a task force, found a task force that rescues men, women, and children from human and sex trafficking. We need to put a stop to this, and this is a $1 trillion industry. So it's everywhere. Every single state that I go, there's a form of trafficking and sex trafficking there.
Mm-hmm. So in your in addition to your task force on sex trafficking, you also have, let's talk about the raising the minimum wage. So these are the different policies and views that presidential candidates have. And what are your thoughts on that? What you're for raising the minimum wage to? What do you think it should be?
Absolutely. So the way that I'm going to do it, there's two parts. A lot of people talk about, and we see it now. Right now, you can actually see it, where, I'm going to raise the minimum wage to $15. Let's go crazy. Let's say the minimum wage is going to be $25. since day one that I picked up the presidency. The problem is, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So as the minimum wage goes up, so will the prices. You don't want to spend $20 for a gallon of milk. It makes no sense.
Right.
So,
Inflation.
correct. That's exactly what I'm getting at. Inflation. So therefore, I will raise. Every state is different. So pertaining per state, I will raise the minimum wage. But also, it's really important that as the president, I set up different trade deals, better trade deals that we got now, to reduce inflation. That way, your American dollar actually has more value. You're going to be able to do a lot more.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's like growing the pie bigger makes every percent more valuable. If you're fighting about like percentage of the pie and the whole entire pie is shrinking, and then it makes it not, you don't get anywhere in your life. And so we were talking about this as the Blue Book method. Now, the Blue Book method, like when you get a car, so the Blue Book method we're talking about raising the minimum wage. We want to not encourage inflation and kill job growth either, because if we raise minimum wage too high, it kills job growth, the other jobs that could be there as well. But we want to also stimulate people's excellence, working skills. In the Blue Book method, like when you work on a car, like when you go into a garage, they have each thing for jobs performed, like a transmission, changing out a transmission for like a Rogue, a Nissan Rogue. It's this amount, or this brake job. Okay, it's this amount on this car, and then for each job performed, and the mechanics that are really excellent, they work more efficiently and faster, and they make themselves more profitable for their employer, and they make a lot more money. The better that they get at it, the more profitable as an employee that they have. And so it stimulates excellence and productivity among the workers and makes it more valuable for the employer and for the customers, efficiency moving forward. And if we had some kind of program where, like, not everybody would necessarily want to be on that track, they might stay on the regular 775 an hour track. But for those that want to raise their income level, encourage them, they could go on the Blue Book method for get paid by the job. You following me?
Yes, absolutely.
So
you are truly a really smart man.
It would be like a hybrid. Thank you. It would be like a hybrid method, because you want to raise the tide, like you said. The rising tide floats all boats, right? And so for those that want to get in, like really get to it, they could tap into the Blue Book method, paid by the job or the performance level, and then just keep on pressing forward and have a purpose-driven existence, and then preventing inflation that goes on. So I like that. So if you, this is a conversations that really distinguishes you from the other presidential candidates, of a willingness to think outside the box and to approach problems with both sides of the brain.
Solutions. I like to talk about solutions here on the Property Therapy Show.
Yeah.
We're out to solve problems.
Yeah.
Not just discuss them. We want to hear some solutions.
Yeah. So we've talking about like a vote for you means, and let's talk about in addition to the minimum wage, let's talk about the wall. Let's get your perspective from the Latino perspective. When we get the wall up, what's your thoughts on the wall, first of all, or do you have any thoughts? We had said that you were in favor of the wall going up because it shows we respect our yard. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, I've been to both sides. I've been in Mexico. I've been in the United States. I've been, you name it, I've been there, done that. When it comes to the wall, the number one thing that we need to do in a lot of places, we need to make sure that what I would do instead, this is exactly what I would do. Of course, we want to protect our nation. This is our homeland. We need to protect it and our way of life. Now, I will fix and replace what we need to do when it comes to the wall instead of spending by now trillions of dollars and just making a whole new wall. We need, especially now in today's economy, we need to make sure that we keep some money in our pocket and make sure that we watch our spending big time. Now, another thing is I want to make sure that people do understand, especially my Hispanics, my Latino community, that number one, we need Ellen, just like in Ellis Island. This nation was funded on immigrants. We are the backbone of this nation. Now, it's really important that we also work on the immigration policies to be able to get that done. So it's not saying that I don't want you guys to come in. We want the right people to come in. Absolutely. We love you.
So
we need to work together.
Exactly. A wall with doors. Plenty of doors on the wall.
Absolutely. As long as it's the right people and you follow the protocol, welcome to the United States.
We want to keep it the promised land. People here that have, the bright horizon before their eyes, and they're running to the bright horizon.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself.
So now the wall frees us up for an immigration bill, don't you think? For immigration reform, if we get able to get that up, and because we want to be able to help recognize the property therapy contributions, the extraordinary renaissance that the immigrants and especially the Latinos are making, and if we get that wall up, it would free everybody up to be able to have immigration reform, and having part of that be the property therapy as part of like a citizenship. And part of the metric, property therapy being part of that, so that people can see all around the benefit that the immigrants are having to renew our community.
Absolutely, it goes hand with hand, and especially once we fix and reform our immigration policy and do things right, it's gonna work perfectly all the way around. We're gonna be able to have people come in and do everything right. We want you to come in. We need good people. We always do. Now, at the same time, we're going to stop a lot of the human and sex trafficking that does happen, including bringing in drugs. So it's a little bit of both. And as long as we do everything, my brother, hand in hand, it's going to work out perfectly fine. Of course, the way that our current president have pitched it rub people a certain way. But before, as long as we do everything all together, everything's going to work out. Trust me, I'm here for you.
So it's time for us to recognize the property therapy contributions Latinos are making to our country.
Absolutely, and we have Latinos that even when they're coming into the U.S., they join the military. They contribute, they go to college, and the whole 9 yards. There's a lot of great people, so definitely it will be a great thing to have them contributed. Now, of course, the bad apples, we don't want here. That's common sense. So just like property therapy, I'll go on liberty to say that we are together on this, and which is we want to protect our yard, make sure everything is looking good, long, nice and clean cut, the whole 9 yards. At the same time, we want to welcome our guests for a much better future. It goes hand with hand, and it will work out.
And that's what is the importance of having law and order in the country, because it protects property therapists, doesn't it? Because in down south of the border, the property therapists, they work really hard, and then like the next day, someone comes up with the gun and says, "That's my place."
Absolutely, and please allow me the opportunity to give a very welcome and special shout out for everybody working in Homeland Security. A lot of people are my friends, the former Marines as well, former military, and also the Border Patrol. You guys are doing a great, great job. Thank you for everything that you're doing. I know it gets crazy out there, and without you, our country will be literally screwed. So thank you, and keep doing the hard work. Over here in Washington, D.C., we got your back.
We are talking with presidential candidate Dennis Diaz, the first Puerto Rican candidate for president in the United States history. And his website is diazforpresident.com, and Diaz is spelled D-I-A-Z, for president, F-O-R, for president.com. And this is a sign Dennis is a sign of the growing maturity and the leadership positions that Latinos are having in the United States. El futuro es Latino. And so here at the Property Therapy Show, we recognize the contributions and how property therapy is giving traction to the Latino community. And once you have property in your life, once you get property therapy skills, you get property. That's how it works. If you're competent in ways, you get opportunities in that area of your competence.
Definitely, and I'll tell you, well, my brother, you guys, one thing that I like for about property therapy, and this, for the record, property therapy is not paying me a penny to say or be here. I'm doing this voluntarily because I love property therapy. I love what they stand about, and it is a fact also that property therapy is actually doing a much better job, especially for the Latino community, than Telemundo and Univision. And you can soundbite it, you can put it on record that I, Mr. Dennis A. Diaz, actually said that property therapy is definitely doing a much better job and bringing a lot more value than Telemundo and Univision combined.
So if you get property in your lives, then you get more traction because property can work for you when you're not even working, right? And the Latinos, they define the American dream as owning their own homes. And they go out there, they don't say, government, give me this, give me that program, give me this, that. No, they say, give me property therapy, right? And they know how to go out there and renaissance properties for themselves and others. And that gives them the traction in their lives and the influence, the growing influence that they're having in our country. And, in our country, in the United States, they bring a culture that's family-oriented.
And very hardworking. What culture is more hardworking than the Latinos?
Yeah, and some, like the Promised Land, we need more of that here in the United States. Our culture too much is sex, drugs, rock and roll, right? Mm-hmm. And but the immigrant community brings the devotion to hard work, to faith in God, and family, entrepreneurial, property therapy skills. So we need to have this and recognize the community, recognize the Latino contributions to the United States. I think we're due for an immigration reform bill now. After we get this wall up, we get things under control. We show some respect for our yard, get that under control, and then we could start talking about the immigration reform bill. And so Dennis Diaz, he's sounding like the property therapy candidate for America.
Absolutely, and thank you, by the way, for your kind words. I highly appreciate it. Everything at the end will play out, but the thing is, my brother, that we need the true leader out there. We need that leadership that right now we're missing. I mean, look at foreign politics. We are still going, the Republicans are all against the Democrats. The Democrats are all against the Republicans, and we're not getting anything done. That's the main problem. We need a leader that actually is going to care about all sides, going to listen to everyone from there, make the right positions.
Yeah, the
right decisions.
Exactly. The two political parties are really starting to go to war with one another. And
I know, right?
The out of that's going to needs to rise an independent American party for America. Help the property therapy party. Help, because the great leveler for humanity is that most everybody's born with a good pair of hands. If they just know how to use it, and then tie that to property, and they start getting traction for their lives. And
most definitely.
And we have one political party that knows about growing the economy, and then the other party about giving hope to many people. And so if we combine that, like a scientific sense of what the economy and how the forces of money and flows and how jobs and trade policy works, how business and enterprise works, that like the scientific maturity on how markets work, how enterprise, how property works, how property therapy works, and then combine that with a party that gives hope to people no matter where they come from. If they've got born with a good pair of hands and they get property therapy skills, and they know how to they get property and work that with a passion. If you tap into a fundamental needs of humanity, you will always have a job. If you work that with the passion, you always have a job and a future, a bright horizon to run towards.
Most definitely, and there's one episode that I would definitely ask the audience to watch if you guys do hasn't watched it yet. We all know that everybody's different, but you guys gotta search on property therapy. It's the one, I'll tell you right now, it's the one that this gentleman came in on the line and he was talking about insurances. That episode was a great episode, and if you're looking for a job, also it has a lot of good advice. It ties up together, so I highly encourage the audience to go ahead and look for that episode as well. But probably you can put it on YouTube somewhere, and they can find it because it was an amazing episode. So just like you said, property therapy, that's where it's at, and that's exactly how we gotta work.
So we're talking. So it's good to have you, Dennis, on the show. Do you have any other questions for us, or any things you want to talk about?
Can I get one question here real quick? I see one of your issues is resolving homelessness, and I know it kind of goes along with affordable housing, but there's a lot of smart guys that think that it's not just so much the housing cost as it is a mental health issue, and it's one of the problems that really seems to be getting worse in the country that nobody's addressing. You don't see a lot about it on the media, but if you even look on YouTube and find videos around Los Angeles, it just keeps getting worse and worse. And even here in Independence, Missouri, which just on the edge of Kansas City, Missouri, it's something that just gets worse every year. And what are your thoughts on addressing the problem? What can the government do about it, and how much of that do you think is a mental problem?
My brother, you just asked the most amazing question there is, and this is getting me excited here. All right, so I created a special operation called Operation Secure. And this is exactly how we are currently. That means right now we're doing it. We're not waiting for the presidency. We're doing it now. What we're doing is we're buying abandoned towns, abandoned properties for $1 and pennies on the dollar. The government is more than happy to give you those as long as you got the proper business plan. From there, a lot of it, when I work with homeless people, I do this nationwide. I noticed that there's a couple things that come into play. And I'm going to tell you right now, my brother, I've been homeless. I've been rock bottom. So I understand how it is and how it feels. Now, a lot of these homeless people just need guidance. After you live a certain way for so long, you lose your sense of purpose. Everything starts actually going backwards. So we need to give them guidance. Also, for the mental issues that a lot of them have, alcohol, drugs, and whatnot, we need to have therapists. So I took an entire year to actually visit homeless people. And I mean, go back to my roots and the whole 9 yards. And I came out with a system. It's called Operation Secure. So we buy abandoned homes from the government for $1 or whatever the case is, and then we house the homeless. Now, most people are going to say, oh, wait, but that's going to cost a lot of money. No, listen to the whole thing. So number one, we house them. Number two, a lot of these people just want an opportunity to go to work. So what we do, we provide them with work. We actually bring in entrepreneurs so they can actually work the telemarketing department or clean out the town and pay them minimum wage to clean up the town. They got no problem with it. Also, while we are doing that, I got incentive for business owners that they cannot afford right now to hire personnel. I asked them earlier, hire some of my guys for minimum wage, and it's going to help you out. Business owners love that idea.
There's so many.
Also,
go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, my brother. And also, we bring psychiatrists. We bring people that already been in prison, been convicted felons, that been there, done that. I don't want just somebody educated. I want the person that you can truly look up to because they changed their life and they become the mentors. And I'm telling you, my brother, I am so proud to say that the system has been working and we've been showing improvement. The government, all 50 states, should actually join forces with me and actually create it into a much bigger level.
I'd like to see some of the Latinos as part of in the immigration reform bill as being mentors for a lot of these disadvantaged people, property therapy mentors, and help them get property therapy skills to then fix up these properties. Because if you get property therapy skills in your life, you get property. That's how it works. And there's property therapy. It's a twofold method here, because in taking care of the property, it has problems or issues, so it needs therapy. But in taking care of the property, it takes care of you. It helps you overcome your addictions. It helps you overcome a lot of issues. Helps you depression. Helps you overcome tough times in my life. Like that was what the genesis of the show of the property therapy comes from. When I was in law school, we talk about this on the show. When I was in law school, I nearly had my house burned down.
You could have been homeless. You could have been the guy on the street with the mental issues from all the stress and your home burning down.
Yeah. My home burned down. I fractured my rib, and then our whole family was excommunicated from the church, and then my grades in law school were mercurial, and I was having a lot of suffering in my life, and I learned that, and then also like being in a culture, hostility toward the values, traditional values of America, and there's that right there. It's just caused me to nearly have a mental breakdown, because I just felt there's a lot of latent hate for the traditional values of America or property therapy, and it just, I nearly had a mental breakdown when I was in law school. But what I did was I started bringing my brother to law school with me, and he's mentally disabled, and it was ostensibly to bring him, to help him move forward with his life, because he would just vegetate on the couch every day. And so I started bringing him to law school with permissions of some of the professors once, every week. So I would bring him with me to try to help him move forward in his life. And then, but in the process of helping him, it was helping me.
You're literally taking care of your brother as instructed.
Yeah. So I was getting as much benefit out of I was benefiting him to help him get forward momentum. So it's like I took property. He was my property that I took care of, and not in a legal sense, but in a like a moral or a spiritual sense. So in helping take care of that, it was taking care of me. You see? And so when the show started, this show started under quarantine when everybody was depressed, and I wanted to start a show that would just cheer people up. And that property therapy was something that we just started a show. I started writing music for the show. And the idea, and we trademarking the idea right now to property therapy, but it's a powerful thing. I've lived it. I know it. And we want to see part of this immigration reform bill, and to have that be part, property therapy be part, and team up these Latinos with people in the community and teach them property therapy skills, and under that hunger for the dream of America, the hunger that let them recapture that they take for granted, that they're in here, the most awesome place in the world. These people on the streets, they take it for granted where they're at.
Is there any country on earth that's had more stories of rags to riches just from hard work? I mean, I don't know of one if there is, but I've seen lots of stories of just the rags to riches, just coming from nothing and working hard and making something of yourself. All those stories happen in the United States.
Oh, absolutely. And not to toot my own horn, but I'm a prime example. I was homeless. I'm in rock bottom. Like, you cannot even name it. And I worked hard, blood, sweat. And I'll tell you right now, a whole lot of tears. I got no reason to fake it. But working and doing the best that I could got me into the position that I became the first presidential candidate in history as Puerto Rican born, and they made it to the top three. Joe Biden, President Trump, Dennis Diaz, and the whole 9 yards. You might not see on TV, but has been a lot of hard work and dedication, and I do it in the purpose of hopefully this will be an inspiration that somebody that is on and out to understand that I believe in you. You can make it happen. Get out there. Just give it everything you got, and we can make it happen.
Dennis Diaz is an inspiration for us, and he's really realized the American dream and made it to the White House. In fact, you were just at the White House, weren't you?
That is a fact. Right before when we started talking, I was just getting out of there on the whole 9 yards. So, absolutely.
What's it like inside the White House?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, I like to bring my staff to the White House, even if it's to look around, because it's amazing. It really brings American history. I mean, it's not only because, that's the house of the president, which is actually the house of the American people, they're the one that pay the taxes. The president gets to stay there, has the privilege and honor to actually stay there, and it's so rich history. Even the first time that I stepped into the White House, and I saw the physical teacup from Abraham Lincoln, and it's inspirational. And actually being able to work and conduct business in the White House, and just like our founders did, is an amazing thing. And I highly encourage everybody to actually go to the White House. Even if you don't get a special invitation, you can go. I can teach you how to actually do it, and even self-guiding tour and so on. But to really appreciate the country, you don't need to believe in the government, but you do need to believe in your country. This is where you live, and the whole 9 yards. So definitely appreciate it and take it from there. I love being in the White House. I definitely do.
Property therapy is going to get you in the White House someday, Dennis Diaz.
Most definitely. Hopefully that's the plan, but also I really believe in property therapy. Even doing the research, what you guys talking about, the value. Anybody can say whatever they want and make it into an advertisement, but you guys bring value to the people. Anybody that listen to property therapy, even from the first show up to now, they're gonna gain value, and that's really important.
Exactly. If you don't get property therapy skills, life's just gonna pass you by. The people that are active, they're going to pass you by. Like in the community, they talk about flight from the community, or then they talk about gentrification. You see in the black community, they talk about a white flight wanting to just take off, and then so they talk the flight, and then once the people come back and start fixing up, then they complain of gentrification. So they complain that you're leaving, and then complain that you're coming back. And you know why? Because you're not tapped into the property therapy network.
Exactly. That's exactly how it goes. So I highly encourage you, give them a job, the whole 9 yards. And more important than anything, even if you don't even subscribe, listen to what they have to say. If I'm getting value, you will gain value too.
Yeah. And if you have property therapy skills, you will always have a job opportunities out there.
Mm-hmm. And you also don't have to worry about your minimum wage because you set your own wages when you become
a master,
a contractor or someone who can just do their job really well. You'll be in demand, and you'll be able to set your own minimum wage.
As property therapists, we live in a mortal world that is dying, and so property is always dying. It's on a circle of life, right? So it's always we always need property therapists in a mortal world to help upgrade and renaissance property. And like these kids that grow up in the disadvantaged communities. They have, like in the inner city somewhere, there'll be an abandoned house across the street. And it's there their whole life for decades. And if they just had some property therapy skills, they could be able to tap into that opportunity right there.
They could probably buy it for $1 and start fixing it up as they build their skills up.
And we team them up with some Latino pedagogical contractors that are wanting to get some citizenship status and help them get some mentoring, property therapy mentoring in their lives, and help them tap into the faith orientation network on that. And then let's talk about the importance of faith orientation in your life. And I've been reading a lot of Latino Hispanic books I've read in the last 2 or 3 weeks, a whole stack. There's maybe 8 or 9 books I have before me, and they're all on Latino culture, Hispanic nation, Idiot's Guide to Latino History and Culture, Hispanic Theology. And so I finished reading all these books. And the Latino, one of the things I've learned in like Cuba under Castro, when he took power, he realized that the productivity after he took power under his socialistic regime, the whole productivity in the nation just went down a giant nosedive. And so he got his academics together, and they were researching why is that the case. Of course, they scared away a lot of the businesses and the people, entrepreneurs and the middle class. They all left and went to Miami, didn't they? So he scared them away that. But there's more than that, and they were looking for, well, why is it under a socialistic state? Why is that the productivity just goes down? And they pinpointed. They said, well, it has to do with the faith orientation's gone. The create belief in having a faith orientation, which stimulates hard work, because what it does is it's a driver to help you work without having to need immediate reward. You see, and so under that system, there was no God. There was the state was the God. You see. And so it just cut off the productivity and the level there. And so the importance of having that in the United States, of having that being the faith orientation as part of the equation. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh man, when it comes to God, there is no denying. Like, I wouldn't be even halfway here if it wasn't for God having my back and helping me lead along the way. Even when I take the Diaz task force, or I'm doing anything, I have a conversation with God on, listen, what do you think it will be best? Like, give me some guidance. I'm human, just like everybody else. So actually having a really good relationship with God has actually helped me a lot to everything that I do in life. So I highly agree that we definitely got to have faith and take it from there. It's going to help so much. And doesn't matter really what religion you want, as long as we are all actually have faith and actually work together as brothers and sisters that we should be, and acting like, everything's going to be a lot better. The rest of the problems become, if you leave everything to God and you put in the work, all the biggest problems that you think that are so big, they become really minimum.
Right.
It becomes nothing.
So we say,
so I highly agree.
Like on the money, it says, "In God we trust," but the government doesn't get into defining, well, what does that God mean? It doesn't it lets people, the different faith orientations, kind of define what God means. And but it doesn't mean that the government can team them up with the faith orientation groups, and but the government itself is legally it's a pluralistic government. But the teaming up with the faith organizations and having that be a driver for humanity, it's something that the Castro regime lamented that they missed. And though because Castro was an atheist. He was a lawyer, trained lawyer, and an atheist. And then he saw how that met the productivity level without having the faith orientation. It just sapped people's productivity levels. So that's one of the important things that we have here at the American Heritage Center and the Property Therapy Radio is teaming up, because we understand that when people have a faith orientation in their lives, they have more of a purpose-driven existence, and when they have that, they take better care of property. Because what you do in this life, what you do in this life echoes in the next. And there's that scripture that says, if you can't take care of what's not yours, how are you going to be given what is yours? So what is not yours is like everything in this world is not yours. It was all created by God. And so if you can't take care of what's not yours in this life, how are you going to be given what is yours in the next? You see? How are you going to be given your own mansions in heaven, or your own estates, or universes, planets, who knows? The scriptures in the Bible, it talks about there's heaven, I cannot know, man has not conceived the blessings that the Lord has for those that are faithful unto him.
Absolutely, and you actually hit it just right. You're 100% right. So definitely let's work together and do a lot more than we're actually doing now. I definitely believe in faith, and it's going to work out. Trust me.
That's one
especially
of
as the leader.
Follow the Spirit. We have our FTS rings here at the American Heritage Center. FTS stands for Follow the Spirit. And we want you to get your FTS ring, Dennis, and encourage everybody to tune into and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Property Therapy Show on YouTube. And then we also have some other social media platforms.
Yep, Property Therapy Show on Facebook. You can join the conversation there on our page. Send us pictures of your property therapy projects, questions. We'll try to send you in the right direction, answering your questions if you have any.
This is the Property Therapy Show on 102.9 FM and 1140 AM on KCXL.
In the Kansas City area, or if you're out of this area, you just have to find us on YouTube and have a new episode out every Thursday. It's the same one that goes out on the over the air.
We're interviewing the first Puerto Rican presidential candidate in American history, Dennis Diaz, and his website is diazforpresident.com, and that's DIAZ for president.com, FOR, Diaz for President. And he is a military veteran who has put his life on the line in several campaigns for the United States. And he knows what it means to give ultimate service for your community and for the people that you love. Because it really, we only live a short amount of time, but greater love hath no person than this, that he laid down his life for his friends. And so, like Jesus, we were talking about, like Jesus taught, if you would have one be your ruler, have him be your servant. And when you're a veteran, you know what it means to be a servant for us all, because freedom's not free.
Oh, it's not. You're definitely right.
And they talk about the privilege. They talk about privilege in the United States, like white privilege, or this or that. But the thing is, it's not privilege. There's a lot of blood and suffering that we enjoy the privileges that we have today. It's based on a lot of the suffering of our forefathers. And like the kids in our generation, they don't know what that means. They've forgotten this. So in a way, it is privilege if they've forgotten the sufferings of the forefathers.
That's the American privilege, is to go through life and not even realize that, because you didn't have to do that yourself.
Yeah. And so the Latinos, in these books I've been reading, the Latinos, when their service in World War II, there was a great proportion of the Latinos were served in World War II, and after their service in World War II, they applied en masse to college. For after their service, they got a sense, yeah, this is our country, and I wanna go to college. And so they got a sense, they tapped into the sufferings of our forefathers, because they knew the same kind of sufferings of our forefathers. And so that's the ultimate, respect right there, that a man willing to lay down his life for his friends. So thank you for your contribution to America. This is Adam Sheffield and John Pine, Property Therapists for America.
Anything else that we need to cover? Anything else that you'd like to talk about?
Sure. The biggest thing, number one, if you guys are hearing this and you guys going to be in New Jersey on Saturday, 1 North Main Street, New Egypt, New Jersey, we're going to be doing an event. It's going to be free, bring the family. It's also kid friendly. We're going to have a good time. Now, it's going to be from 6 to 9 p.m. Doors open at 5 p.m.
That's this Saturday, September 26th, this Saturday, right?
Correct, this Saturday. And the biggest thing is, I know that everybody's mind is flustered with everything that is going on, especially right before election. Number one, when you go out to the ballot, make sure that you vote for what you stand for, not for what marketing has told you to actually stand for. Vote for yourself. If I'm that guy, well, I highly appreciate me being that guy. If it's somebody else, make sure that you truly understand and you vote for that person. Don't vote for against somebody else. Also, I know a lot of people are talking about defund the police and the whole 9 yards. It's really important that we actually back police, give them everything that they need, and actually respect the police. Two bad apples ruin the whole barrel. Everything gets we in the media we make money when it comes by feeding negativity. Let's stop that nonsense. Whoever does the bad stuff, because there's bad people everywhere. So when it comes to the bad people, we're gonna hold them accountable as we should. But don't let the whole barrel and let the force have a black eye just because of a couple bad people. So as Americans, it's really important that we come back to our roots and work together as fellow brothers and sisters and take care of business that way. We truly need a leader that is going to lead us to get to that point. At the end of the day, race don't matter, sex don't matter, no matters. We are all in one. We are in the same. We have the honor and the privilege to be United States citizens. So let's start acting like it. Let's work together. And no matter what the storm brings, with God and country, we can accomplish anything. May God bless you. May God bless your families. And may God bless the United States of America. I'm Mr. Dennis A. Diaz. I'm here at the Property Therapy Show, in which I love and I approve this message.
Okay, thanks, Dennis. We'll send you the link to the show so you can post it all over your campaign, and when we post that on YouTube.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely, my brother. And
thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate your positions on everything, and thanks for your endorsement of the show. Love to do some
absolutely, my brother. It's a pleasure.
Cross promotion with you.
When we got Bowie Bird, he's the mascot of the show.
Yeah.
He's been sitting quiet. He's been real patient, but he's the proper.
Hey, Dennis.
So I told you about the property therapy bird. His name is Bowie, and he's a bower bird. And bower birds are the property therapy birds, and they build the bowers to attract the lady birds, the lady bower birds. And some of them species build these bowers that are wide, like 5 foot wide and many feet high, several feet high. But each year the bower bird learns by watching the older bower birds and getting construction skills. And then the bower bird has been known to paint the interior of the bower with berry juice. And it'll get a sop sponge and then squeeze the berry juice out and then paint the walls of the bowers.
And they decorate the nests, like right outside the nest. They decorate and color coordination all over the ground outside the nest.
They like the color blue, and so they'll go around and snag blue straws, blue bottle caps, blue trinkets, and put them all around, impressing the ladies, and they'll spend a lot of property therapy love hours building their bowers.
So it's nice to hear you.
So it's great having you. So this is the Property Therapy Show. It's a motivational show in many ways to motivate people with puppetry, with music, with biographical interviews, and this History Alive. This is a History Alive interview. He's making history here. Dennis is making history. So we have biographical.
We're doing it together.
Yeah, we are making history here, Dennis, and we have the History Alive theme song that I wrote for the music to the show. We're going to put that into the interview here. The History Alive theme song, and the faith orientation theme song. We talked about faith orientations. That's another important. And then the Dreamscape theme song is Realizing Your Dreams. That comes out the end of the show. You'll hear it. It's in a very ethereal electric piano, dreamy. And then the opening of the show, you've heard the show about the lost tool bucket. And so it's great having you here, Dennis. And we all wish you the best and Godspeed.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor and a privilege to be in your show.
Okay, God bless. Bye.